Welcome to another episode of Neon Radio Podcast. I'm Reece.
I am the Hunter Dan. That was terrible.
Do you want to start again?
Yeah. No, I don't care.
Bingo, I'm Declan.
Bingo! What is this?
It's a bingo.
Yeah.
I know, but I'm playing mine down. I'm too embarrassed to be like that guy.
That's his face. It's a bingo!
Oh my God.
He's a weird dude. That's
the point.
He's so awesome.
This week, we're continuing on with our Quentin Tarantino filmography run, and we're up to Inglorious Basterds. Before we go into the review, we do spoil the film, so go and watch the movie, come back, and let us break it down for you. Before we start, a little information about the movie. As we know, the film is written and directed by Quentin Tarantino, but it's based off an old movie called The Inglorious Basterds. 1978, I think it is. Mm-hmm. And we also have the director of the film inside of the movie. He's the guy that yells fire as the place goes up in flame.
Also, his birth name is also used in the movie.
Is it?
Yeah, Golami.
Golami. Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense because it is
It's
a lot
not
of
his name as his director name, but that's his birth name. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Cinematography by the one and only Robert Richardson, and music is composed by one of the greatest, Ennio Morricone. He would go on to compose Tarantino's Django Unchained and The Hateful Eight, with one original work in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. He passed away sadly last year, mid-year.
Rest in peace.
But let's get on with the review. Damn, man, you start this one off. Initial thoughts on Inglorious Basterds.
Oh, my friend. This is another great movie from the Tarantino catalogue. Has many memorable scenes.
Yeah.
And just like any Tarantino movie, they're like, again, little short films put together, but they're really, really tight. One thing, I'm going to say one negative of this. I wasn't, again, I've seen this movie probably 100 times. I start to lose interest in the cinema scene. Like all those cinema scenes, I just find them, I don't know, they're just a bit of fluff in it.
Shoshana.
Yeah.
Shoshana?
Shoshana.
Shoshana?
Yeah, Shoshana, yeah.
Shoshana.
Yeah, but all the rest, man, I could watch forever.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's pretty much it.
So by cinema scenes, do you mean just like the end moment?
Nah, just her so when she grows older, just that her whole piece there.
So the things with Daniel Bruhl, a lot of that stuff?
Yeah, I don't like it.
That's fair enough.
I just thought, look, it's still good, but I just said I didn't like it. To me, it just felt like it was just getting bogged down with those bits.
Right. Okay.
Even though they needed it for, obviously.
Yeah. Fair enough.
I wanted to see what you guys think.
Declan.
I'm pretty similar to you. I think this movie is really, really, really good. I think this and Kill Bill Vol 2 are almost same sort of level for me. Like, like top of his. I think this might be the top. I'm keen to get the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood again, but this is like maybe when he was at his peak with these two films. That there's something within that cinema sort of section that you're talking about that I think is something that he does in his later career, and he sort of dabbles in his early career a bit, where he starts to get bogged down in the idea of how much he loves movies and cinema, and he starts putting it into his movies, and it kind of like takes you out of the movie a bit because you're going, oh, this is Tarantino telling us how much like he loves movies kind of thing. But it's not that bad that I'm sitting there going, it's not really, but it is something that he does. And it's something that comes with the fact that he's so well liked and loved now. He gets away with a bit more than he would have if he'd done that in his early career. But that's a real thing that he starts definitely doing. It's like there's that whole conversation with Daniel Bruhl and Melanie Laurent about old German films and old French films and stuff, which is like, it's kind of cool knowledge, but it's also like it's just above your head if you're not up to scratch on like French and German history of cinema. So, but I like this. This movie.
We're just picking.
I'm nitpicking 100%. This movie, like, I really, really like this movie. I think this one's really good.
Yeah, it's solid.
It's got less of what the thing that I had the issue with Vol 2 with the monologues.
Oh,
The monologues don't bog this one down. They work within the context of the story and they keep things flowing. And it's not just like a story, stop, we're doing a monologue. It's like the monologue exists as part of flowing things forward and it works really nicely. Particularly in the
Hans Lander stuff.
Hans Lander,
as
I actually think the bar scene, the shootout with Michael Fassbender, I think that's the best scene. The Hans Lander scene is the one that's always referenced, but I think that scene in the bar is very cool.
Can I just say to you how
pretty good.
fucking tight my asshole was watching that scene?
Anytime
Even today.
you know what's going to happen. It's just that's the scene.
Like I was in my bedroom watching this movie and my parents walked in, like my mum walked in and she was like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "No." For the last 5 to 10 minutes, I've been literally like a tense ball, like just tension. She's like, "Why?" I'm like, "It's a fucking scene, man. It just keeps going."
It's really good.
And it just keeps going and it keeps me just like on my edge. Every time you see one of the Nazis walk over, you're like, "Oh fuck, just leave." Just leave.
I think what's so popular about the first scene, even just the way the first shot, the movie opens up in that big landscape, you get the house on the left, I think the well on the right or something.
Music.
And he's just a little man just axing on this thing. Just you could just pause that image and print it up and put it on your wall.
Yeah.
But I think it's more about, well, from what I've seen as a past cinematographer, is that scene is just so technically lit. It's just so damn good, and it's directed.
It's beautiful.
It's the way he reveals everything.
I'm not saying that's. I'm not saying it's not a good scene, but that scene in the bar is all time amazing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's more.
Yeah.
It's just for me. That scene is like.
Yeah.
That's like him bottling up his Reservoir Dogs energy.
Yeah.
And putting into
Make
that
it tight,
section. I just think I don't know that one. The one in the bar for me is just. Crazy. The tension in that scene is way more than the tension in the opening scene.
I think that's the
tension in the opening scene. Once you know that the Jewish people are hiding under the floor, you know what's going to happen. The tension in the bar scene. I remember the first time watching that, just going, "What the fuck is going to happen here, man? This is insane."
Because there's so many people involved there.
One is I feel like the bar scene is more something that is a build up. It's like shaking a bottle of Coca-Cola. You know what I mean? And waiting for it to explode. When the opening scene is methodical. He walks in, he asks the 3 daughters to leave. Then later on brings in 3 soldiers.
It's his whole
I get all that. I get all that.
So both of them have their own
character, and it's obviously building the character.
Both of them have their own drive, and that shows just how good the film is. There are parts of the movie that even I was like, let's move on a little bit. Let's continue on because
what were those parts?
It was more just
it's 2 hours and 37 minutes. This movie.
I do think I love Mike Myers. I think he's a great actor, and I think he does a really good job in this because he takes moments of him being very Mike Myers in how he does things, but just bringing it that little bit down, just a little bit down to make it a feeling that he's being dramatic enough.
I find Mike Myers he overacts.
Yeah, but that's what I was saying.
It worked for this.
It worked for this. Like it wasn't like he wasn't being groovy, baby.
No, he wasn't. No.
He was pulling that back just enough for this film. Because actually, if you look at the movie, a lot of people in this movie overact, like a lot. So when
everyone overacts in Tarantino films in general.
That's the point. Well, it's all about the cadence of the dialogue, and the dialogue is pretty much overacting.
Yeah.
But I do think that scene with Fassbender, if you wanted something that was a circle jerk about movies. That scene with Mike Myers and Fassbender.
Yeah, that's it.
That there is what you're getting at, which is like, hey man, you don't need to talk about film because most people in the audience probably don't know about what German and French cinema is, and they don't really care. So if you just say,
look, I love movies, and I'll tell you right now, I'll never in my life take the time of day to go back through the history of German and French cinema. No, and that's not. I'm not going to do it. Like, it's not going to happen.
No. Yeah. Well, it's like I would love to be able to do runs on Japanese cinema or on certain like Italian cinema. Just don't have time. No. or like I don't have the drive to do that.
It's hard to watch older movies now too. To be like a lot of them. Yeah. It is. It just is.
I guess it's the easiest in this time period. It's easier to find them than any other time period.
Yeah, that's true.
But it's harder to. It's not easy to watch them.
No.
That being said, that's where they were the type of scenes that I felt bogged the movie down. Where you're like, okay, we get it, it's good, but it just let's drive on.
To be fair though, that scene
it was only short as.
I'm not saying it's
It was like 4 or 5
I'm not
minutes.
saying it's an amazing scene or anything, but that scene with Fassbender and Mike Myers takes place after a big release, doesn't it?
I'm trying to think when.
I don't
It's
think
before the bar scene.
No, it takes place when they find out that they're gonna go. The cinema's been swapped, and that they don't know that the Fuhrer's coming yet.
Okay.
But wasn't it after
But they're going to meet up with
Wasn't it after the
the
head
actress.
smash? The baseball bat scene? The Jew smasher?
Yes,
It was
but it
straight
wasn't
after that.
straight after
The
that.
bear
Bear smasher. Bear Jew, yeah. The Jew smasher, wow.
The bad Jew. Yeah.
Bear Jew, yeah.
No, but it takes place when
No. Oh, you're
right
right.
after.
Yeah,
It takes
yeah.
place right after she says, "This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna burn the place down with
That's
Stella
right. Yeah,
Wood
no.
film."
I think maybe that in my head, that scene might have worked better if it had to come after a big set piece, and then we had the calm.
Right. Yeah. No, it was right after she came in and said that. The set piece then was the diner.
Yeah,
The
I remember.
breakfast?
I remember.
yeah.
I remember
That was
being.
another scene.
Goebbels.
Yeah.
Goebbels?
I remember
Goebbels?
being,
Goebbels?
I remember being in the cinema being like weirded out by that part because we were meeting like two whole new characters. Without obviously you get context for it later, but it kind of does feel a bit weird.
It makes sense for the film, but the thing is that it could have been shorter and gotten straight to the point. Because he could have just said, "You like German cinema, don't you?" And he goes, "Yes, I've written 2 books," and I would have been like, "Okay, well, I know that he's fucking versed.
Yeah,
That's all I needed. I don't need to know about the different." I guess the idea was that he's having this conversation with this old man that's randomly sitting in the room to see how well he actually knows German cinema and if he's relevant for the mission. But it just was like, it's relevant. I would like to just continue on.
Yeah.
And there are scenes, I think the bar scene's great. But there's moments in the bar scene where I was like, I want this to drive on as well.
yeah. I didn't. I was all in.
I was like, let's drive this forward a little quicker. Let's make this a little more concise.
It's interesting
So,
to me that
yeah.
you want that scene to be more concise, but you were just like all about Kill Bill doing his monologues.
With the monologues in his scenes,
It's just interesting. No, but just, I'm not.
I-
that
I
wasn't
brought up-
a slam. I'm
I
just
wanna
saying,
hear
like, I just find that
Reece's
interesting.
reaction.
No, but I brought up very specifically that yes, I did agree that there's a lot of monologues in Kill Bill, and I even said that I would have cut one of the monologues. So, but I said I would have cut the goldfish monologue and not the Superman monologue.
Yeah, right.
So yes, both things I think are in their own right. They have their own little goods and bads. But I do think when it comes to Kill Bill, I just think that it's both playful and really well made at the same time, and that's where it's like it's the turning point for Quentin Tarantino into something of like importance, which is this film.
I think a lot of
the
people
thing
would
is-
argue that Pulp Fiction was that for him. Just from-
I mean,
Story, yeah.
I'd say that's his most. That's his biggest achievement for changing cinema.
yeah.
But I don't think that's his biggest achievement now watching these movies.
No way, man.
I'm not saying that either, but I think that like
Most
historically,
people would
like,
probably say
Yeah,
that.
everyone thinks Pulp Fiction, Tarantino.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, that was my little.
But
rant.
I just think these monologues, it's just Tarantino being Tarantino.
I know that is
Oh, yeah,
Tarantino,
yeah.
but I'm saying for me personally, the bar scene, I literally have zero issue with anything in that whole
Right.
sequence.
Yeah, I loved it.
I just think that is him at his finest. That's him doing that that's him doing the rubber band to
Yeah.
absolute perfection
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah. Well,
So-
pretty much. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
You go.
Oh, I was gonna say, so I can, like I said before, I can just hear anyone just rattle off for an hour just talking shit for his movies. 'Cause I just love it. But yeah, for this movie in particular, I was gonna go on it again. It's just those cinema scenes was just too much. Like it was just, I just thought it was just there could have been another way of tightening that up because it was, I don't know, it just didn't fit well for me.
I didn't mind the Daniel Bruhl moments and the cinema scenes, but that's because with Bruhl, I found that he was doing this thing where he was really trying to honestly be someone that was genuinely nice. We know that mask breaks pretty quickly by the end, but throughout the whole thing, you're kind of on the ride with him. You're like,
Yeah.
I kind of feel like this is a nice guy. It's a shame that he's a fucking Nazi.
I
Like-
I didn't get that because
He's
I just
creepy.
found him so needy and annoying that he wouldn't leave her alone.
I
She
mean,
clearly
by
didn't
the-
want to be bothered by him.
By the second part where
'cause
she's
the-
literally in the cafe
Because the
going,
fame went to his head, and he goes, "Oh, fuck, I'm the,
Yeah,
I can have whatever I want."
I just saw him as a clinger. That's
fair
just how I saw him. Yeah,
I saw him as he's taking his shot a couple times, by the end of it, I mean, when he's knocked on the door, he's trying to be sweet. And
I think also about that it tells you it's Shoshana when she first appears on screen, so you know her history with the Nazis. You sort of like, I was on her side.
yeah, fair enough. Yeah. I was more along the lines of I felt like it's a shame this guy's a Nazi. Because I feel like in this moment he's being genuine. And then as the story continues, we know that breaks very quickly.
It would have been cool. Like, look, I know the whole Jewish thing is like, how can I say this? It's it's terrible. The whole thing is just an atrocity to human rights, right? So everyone knows that.
Yeah.
But I just feel that character, because there was a massive age gap difference from the beginning of the movie to then.
It's 4 years.
Yeah, but she just looks like she was heaps older. But anyway, if you watched Waikiki Watiti, what did you say?
Taika
Waititi. What's that Hitler one called again?
Oh,
Jojo Rabbit.
Yeah,
Jojo.
I finished it finally.
Oh man, incredible movie.
Reece doesn't like it.
Oh my god. Let me get my point.
Go.
What's her name? The lead actress in that again?
Scarlett. Oh, she's fantastic. You know?
I felt for her, and this movie I didn't. Well,
you don't spend enough time with Shoshana, and most of the time that you spend with Shoshana is more pushing Daniel Bruhl.
That, and it's just, and I think if we would have got a little bit more of something there, even though her family was gunned down, there's something there was missing.
I think also part of the problem with the ending sequence of the film too is that there's so many charismatic, not even characters, actors that are on the side. Like obviously Christoph Waltz, Hans Landa, you're very interested in what he's up to. But me personally, and this is just a personal thing that I have, I was saying this to my girlfriend before we started watching it. I was like, I'm actually just keen to watch Brad Pitt be Brad Pitt.
Yeah,
he's just, to me, Brad Pitt is just like the epitome of cool, and I could just watch that guy do anything. Like, like I said, you look at that guy on screen in this movie.
He's so good in this
particularly
movie.
in this movie, Moneyball, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Ocean's 11. I feel like those are the movies where you're just like, fuck, that guy is.
Yeah.
He looks like he doesn't need to put on cologne, and he just smells like a man. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean?
He's like a James Dean.
Yeah, he is. But like, and I'm just like, I just want to watch that guy. Like, he just has such a presence. I'm so interested. And I was like, fuck, go back to Brad. I remember the first time I was watching the movie.
Declan has a man crush.
I do. I do. I'm not gonna argue.
It's fine.
But this was a big sort of like coming out party for Brad Pitt, this movie, because he'd been sort of just doing rom-coms and sort of weird, and then he did this, and everyone was like, oh, we need to take Brad Pitt seriously, you know? Like, and I think it was a coming out party for Fassbender.
Yeah.
Daniel Bruhl obviously got work from it. Christoph Waltz got work from it, but we could argue that
now.
outside of Tarantino films, it hasn't been that great
Which
for
is
him.
a shame, because he's obviously very good.
Yeah, I'm just but like out of Fassbender, what a career after this movie.
Oh yeah. See with
Fassbender in this is amazing.
With Brad Pitt, he did a Netflix movie, I think, with a similar actor from Inglorious. Yeah, it didn't do well.
Yeah.
He
But,
had that whole
Brad
same
Pitt,
persona
Brad
and
Pitt
stuff,
can afford to have bombs.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, it's like if you have a good script, great director, cool story, or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's different. That's a difference.
See, this is one movie that I remember Brad Pitt being in that didn't get a big run, Killing Them Softly. And I thought that was fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
good's
yet
his
again,
hair?
another film where I think he's too cool for the screen. You know what I mean? Like, you're like, oh my God, this is someone who just is a presence. Yeah, a lot of the time, I say, by the end of it, I didn't find that the movie lacked anything, it didn't feel like there was many dips for the film. Like, the whole movie throughout it, I enjoyed every moment. So even when it was the moments where I'm like, let's move on, I was like, well, I'm down for the ride.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So maybe that's just a Tarantino thing, the I'm down for the ride thing. But
I think all these movies, rewatching them now, I don't know if it's just because I haven't watched them for a while, and I don't know if my tastes have changed. I've grown up in them. Like a lot of these were things I watched in my early 20s. Like this movie came out, what was it, 2008? So I was 17, 18 when this movie. 2009. So I was 18, 19 when this movie came out.
It's like a perfect age to watch this movie.
Yeah. And like back then, I was like, I know there was a lot of criticism of the fact that it was just kind of like a I can't remember the exact phrasing for it, but it's basically like a reverse history violence fantasy where it's like you just take your hatred out in the and back in the day I was like, oh, but who cares? And I'm kind of watching it now and I'm like, it is a bit kind of like,
It's like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh, it's not the same as that, though.
No, but like
This is like killing all the Nazis in that room, which is like, don't get me wrong, the Nazis were horrible people.
That's the same.
But yeah, it's the same. Like
It is. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. It is like... It is kind of like a very...
Alternative. An alternative history.
It's how
But it's
he
kind of
wanted
a very basic way to go back and say, this was the wrong thing to do and this is what should have happened.
Well, by the end of the movie where he's just fucking blowing Hitler's skull into pieces, you're like, oh, I get it.
like, shot, it's like a dummy.
You know what I mean, though?
I get it.
Like,
yeah. It's like a catharsis.
How good is Eli Roth, man? What a tank he is.
I like Eli Roth in this movie.
Awesome. Yeah.
By the way, the longest scene ever to hear the baseball bat down that hallway. Because
like,
I want to watch the fuck out of it.
And it goes to fully black screen as well.
Yeah.
I forgot. Because did you guys see this movie at the cinema?
Yeah.
So I have a vivid memory of this, and ever since I've watched it on like DVD or Blu-ray, and then now like I watched this one on Stan, honestly, I don't know if I've just had like a warped memory of it, but I feel like in the cinema there was the shots of him getting his head crushed in by the baseball bat were way more violent.
They were. Yeah.
They were?
Yeah. From memory, you actually
saw his head cave in.
Yeah.
On the first hit, because it cuts away in this, but I remember sitting there and the bat hit, and you were like, "Oh fuck!" Like it was hectic.
I watched it on Prime. You didn't see anything. Yeah.
To the point where
I can't remember.
To the point where I cut out wide, and you just see the head.
That's what all of them been. To the point where when I watched it again on DVD, I remember wincing before it, and then I watched it. I was like, "Oh, actually, that's not as bad as I remember."
Yeah.
Why did
I remember the head getting smashed.
Maybe
I'm sure of it.
Should look it up.
Because when that happened, I went, in my head, it was like a subliminal figure. Oh.
Okay, so Inglorious Basterds, baseball bat, scene theatrical.
Bit of silence. Reece is googling.
Well, you guys can actually do it.
Declan, what's your favourite scene?
The bar scene.
And tell me why.
The bar scene, just because of that whole tension release thing, and like saying that there's the parts in it where they're playing what are they playing? What's the game they're playing with the things on their head?
Charades.
Yeah. That feels like it could bog it down, but the reason I find it works is because the whole time you're just going like, oh man, when is this guy going to leave this fucking table, man? And they're like playing a game now, and you just kind of it builds up the tension in you. It's like there's a real good purpose for it, and you're just like fuck. He's drinking out of that weird boot glass.
It's just so quirky for Tarantino to do that.
Yeah,
but what's good, you got that because that actor, I couldn't remember seeing him anywhere.
No, he must be a German actor.
Yeah, but he just played a real good prick.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, and I think that's one of Tarantino's strong points. He can pretty much pick anyone and just say,
well, people want to work with him.
Yeah. So that's good. What's your if you had to change one thing in the movie, what would it be?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Just waiting for Reece.
Well,
I'm having a crack, man.
I don't so much know that I want to change this, but I'd be intrigued by it. And I know that you just said he was awesome, and I do agree that he was awesome as well.
Walt?
No. But I read that apparently Tarantino wanted to offer the part of the bear Jew to Adam Sandler originally, and I'd just be curious to live in the world where that happened.
Well, have you seen Uncut Gems yet?
No.
Man.
But I've seen Sandler
that's Sandler's best performance.
No, it's still the same.
It's the same.
Maybe we just remember it differently, Dan. I don't know.
I can't find anything even on Safari that says that it was changed.
I swear.
I swear to God, there was a shot where it was like, shit.
It was smashed in.
Yeah, but that being said, I mean, there could have been. We know that there are lots of films where the theatrical changes from the release.
Yeah.
So
you know what's funny? Because I rewatched Entourage. Tarantino just reminds me of Billy Walsh. I don't know what it is. It's just so stuck in his way.
Billy Walsh reminds me of more so like a Francis Ford Coppola or something like that.
Oh, it's just like, I want Final Cut.
Or what's his name? The guy who did the Joker, Todd Phillips. He reminds me of Todd Phillips. Billy Walsh.
I just feel like, anyway.
Yeah.
Nice handbrake.
I do like this is, I will always say it, the Tarantino things I love are the music choices. It's like he picks from the best scores, best old school movie scores, and then makes them.
I just like everything he does.
A part of it.
The quirkiness we were talking before, like the milk.
Yeah, well, yeah. This is my thing. I said Christoph Waltz is the milkman.
Yeah.
Like that's what I would have called him. I would have been like, I wouldn't have even called him Hans. I would have been like, this is the milkman.
It's like when you think of an adult drinking milk, it's like in the 60s or 50s. Yeah, the jocks.
It's weird.
And like the mummy's boy.
Yeah.
Or like, the big chested guys just drinking milk. That's what it reminds me of. Like he was like a mummy's boy brought up in like a posh.
Well, this
sort of thing.
this shows like the Tarantino thing, because anyone else would be like, can I have a glass of milk? But he will say something like, can I have a glass of your delicious milk, please?
It just
You know what
makes
I mean?
it-
Like he'll make it concise.
Yeah.
And that's what kind of makes it real,
Yeah.
gives it that flair.
He's a wordsmith.
Yeah. So we get
Chuckle.
like things like that opening scene. We get things like so he's well spoken, the inkwell and pen,
Yeah.
taking the time to take that out
Yeah.
and do all that type of thing.
Yeah, calculated.
And then his comparisons to
but that's all a part of the old.
yeah.
Yeah.
But this is the thing that I was saying before, the conciseness and knowing what he's going to do before he gets in there.
Yeah.
Because then he starts comparing Jews to rats.
Yeah.
And just to make sure like it's making a thing towards floorboards,
Yeah.
under the floorboards. That's just the concept of what that scene is saying. But we know later on it's more like, to me, it's like a Coke bottle or it's like a rocket, because it's building up and then, blowing up.
Yeah.
How big is his pipe? Man, smoke my pipe, and he pulls out the biggest fuck off pipe.
And it's all there on purpose. Yeah. It's all there on purpose. It's an awesome character.
You'd know that this was the joke.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
But you can imagine him saying, he goes, fuck, let's just give him a big ass pipe.
And that's a big ass pipe.
Not big enough, not stupid enough.
You can see his choice in it.
Yeah.
And this is one I thought you would like. The doorway shot, Dan.
Man,
where she's running in the distance.
Yeah.
And you hear the music's like building. And you see him enter the doorway with his bag, put it down, and lift his gun up.
Yeah.
But the way that it's shot with like the silhouette in the background,
the whole
been
scene,
hard the whole time.
Whole scene is so good. And then when you start to see the power turn of Christoph Waltz's character, the camera actually it dollies around. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it just drops below the floor. It's just, man, this is like it's a masterpiece.
Yeah.
Well, cinematography masterpiece.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always wonder this though, like obviously Tarantino gets they always give the credit to the director, but I wonder how much, because his style changed when Robert Richardson came on board,
Massive change.
and you wonder how much was Robert Richardson going like, oh, actually, I think you should do it this way,
Good question.
but you never get told, because directors really get credit for everything, and I used to do it too, like but then you like watch and you look at the people they work with and things like that, and you start to think like, well, actually, this is an amazing actor and this is an amazing cinematographer. Like surely it's way more of a team collaboration than what we're being led to believe with a lot of these people.
To ask that question to him.
Yeah.
I don't know if he would play Tarantino then and be like, it's all me, baby.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that we've talked about the fact that he likes to pull a bit of like the big-headedness for
I think I have heard him say anything where he's like, it's about me. It's something along the lines of like getting all the stuff out of my head and then helping me get the stuff out of my head and making it great or something like that. So I think he does sort of give credit. Yeah. It's just a shame that there's not as much credit given publicly. But I guess that's the thing when you're the figurehead. It's the same as game directors, like Corey Balrog and all that all gets put like, I mean, there is a fuckload of people working on these things.
God,
you know what I mean? Like,
I was going to say, in Roger Deakins' podcast, he talks about Denny in Sicario. And I vividly, because I watched the movies, I don't know I might watch one of you guys, not sure.
I think we watched Sicario together.
And there's particular shots in the opening scene of the dust. And I thought, fuck, that's a good shot. And actually, Roger Deakins mentioned it. He goes, that wasn't his idea, that was Denny's. Because he interviews Denny, and he said that when he was younger, he used to just sit, I think, lay in his room and just watch the dust float in the air. And that reminded him of his childhood. And he thought, fuck, that's a cool thing to have in his scene.
For the scene.
So that was director related.
Well, I'm sure it's a mixture.
Yeah.
But I'm sure to God that there's obviously directors are going to be more on the side of the camera and more on the side of the script. Like there's no. Some of them are going to be a bit more balanced, but they tend to come from either side. I'm sure
he used to shoot as well. Yeah,
I'm sure there's a process where they're sitting there and they're like, "This is what I want to say with this scene," and then the cinematographer goes, well, these are the shots that you need to use to tell this story the way you feel it.
Well,
do you know what I mean? Like, that's,
in all respect, that's their job.
That's what I'm saying,
yeah,
but it's not enough credit.
For sure.
There's no. It's like, and I've done it too, but I'm like, we watch these things and we go, Tarantino's a master. Like, this is such masterwork from him, and it's like, well,
it's the team.
Yeah, that's what I'm like.
Yeah, for sure.
So wouldn't it be weird if there was an alternate universe and if he kept his original cinematographer? Do you think he?
That's an interesting question, isn't
probably
it?
would have.
Do you think it would
been much different?
Yeah,
it would have maybe been more.
Yeah, the first three they
grimy.
Yeah,
it's a very clean looking movie.
Yeah, well, it's grimy, but it's filmic.
I know. For instance, the Coen brothers, they just give a shot list to their cinematographer.
That's crazy.
Want. And it works.
Yeah. It's funny because that could be very insulting to the wrong cinematographer. You know what I mean? Like being like, here, this is what we want. I mean, yeah, sure. Most people probably would see it as like, this is a job. So this is probably helping my job. But others that, some of the guys, I think probably Deacons would probably find it a bit.
Yeah, he talks. He
would feel a little bit like, hey.
Deacon loves. He's worked with the Coen brothers their whole career.
Open?
Yeah,
he worked with their whole career.
So he's the one that gets that type of. I
don't think he's phased by anything. I think he's. They listen to him though. Like he would. I know for
should change.
He would be like, "There's an easier way we can do this than doing it with like his." I've heard him speak, and he is the kind of guy that would go in and they'd have like a scene broken down in 10 shots, and he'd go, "Hey, we can do this in 3 shots and still get the same result."
And he said sometimes, like if he wants something changed, he'll bring out a chainsaw and cut a hole in the roof.
Yeah.
No, he goes, we need to light this from the top.
Yeah.
But talking about the Coens, I think this is part of that story is because Deacon's wife, I think, comes with him on heaps of the shoots.
Yeah, well, she seems like she's a big part of his process.
Yeah, and she sort of in this podcast she does talk a lot of the whole thing, right?
She does, yeah.
But one time she was away, I was on a Coen Brothers movie, and I think it was Ethan took a shot of Deacon's. I think he had his camera.
Yeah.
And he was just on top of a building looking
Ethan Hawke?
Nah, Coen.
Ethan Coen. Oh, okay. Sorry. I was like, what?
And he took a picture of Deacon's just looking at the light, off the top of his building, and he sent it to Deacon's missus, and she goes, "Yeah, that's Roger."
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty cool to get that behind the scenes.
So when I say they give him a shot list, that's them saying this is our involvement in the shots.
Yeah.
Your job now is to make this work for us.
Yeah.
Understood. Yeah, because for a moment I thought it was almost the equivalent of line reading.
No. They're literally they're literally giving him a thing, and it's like, well, this is important, so it needs to be in a close up.
So it's the equivalent of a script piece saying she walks to the bar. Or something like that. It's not a line reading.
Well, they would
just
say close.
Action.
They would say close up, and then he's got to go like, "Well, okay,
how can I make this work?"
Yeah,
Got it. All right, because for a moment I was like, it's like someone telling the cinematographer what to do, which could be insulting for some.
they need guidance from the director.
Yeah, like I did. Just remember when we did that last short film, I was like, well, how are we going to do this? And that's when I had to ask him.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
What short film?
Oh, just like because I asked him, so how do you write something?
I storyboarded that for you.
And then, so he storyboarded it, and I go, okay, we'll do all this.
Yeah, that's usually...
And that helped heaps.
So much, yeah. Another beautiful shot. The shot of the bastards and the beautiful pattern in the stone floor. First time it comes up.
Yeah.
Again, texture for that type of thing.
Oh, that's the top shot. It was like another shot.
Another shot.
It's like
right
printed
over
on the
top.
wall.
Yeah.
Because if you go
could
down,
print that.
it's just messy in the back. That's just a clean, nicely
I would
symmetrical
happily
shot.
have that on a wall and just feel
awesome shot.
Because when you see something and it feels like, comforting.
Yeah.
That's the shot of the movie for
There's
me.
heaps of these in this movie.
It's the ASMR of shots for the movie.
What are ASMR references? Also cool that BJ Novak is in the lineup. One of the creators of the American Office.
Yeah, he gets
So
in that
cool.
X-ray thing on. If you're watching this on Prime, on X-ray mode, it says he took out a season of The Office to shoot.
Yeah, so I've read that. Yeah,
it's pretty crazy.
That's when he was on his trip to Thailand with the guy.
So funny.
Initial monologue of Aldo Rain, I said, is amazing. The 100 scalps, and I want my scalps.
I want my scalps.
And you will get me my scalps.
Yeah.
Off 100 dead Nazis.
And then I love it how the next 2 scenes later, it's just 3 of his men just scalping people in the background. This big wide shot.
Yeah, how they're just nonchalantly talking.
Yeah.
So good.
Taking people's shoes off. Anyway, yeah. So the scalping imagery, the whistling music. Yeah, this is where I say he found his niche in Kill Bill with the Latin music and the whistling. You know that in the the guitar in the background keeps doing that from now on. It says I said here Hugo killing 13 Gestapo officers.
So good.
Fuck, man. There's the backstory of the characters, which is mainly exposition. Very rarely do they actually show anything.
Sam Jackson's cameo.
Yeah, the voiceover.
There's only that other moment with, I think it's the same character as well. The one that's in the bar near the end of the film. Till Schweiger. Hugo. Yeah, Hugo Stiglitz. Stiglitz is the name.
Hugo Stiglitz. Everyone in the Iraq knows Hugo Stiglitz.
But yeah, even later on where he's doing the whole getting whipped, it just cuts randomly in the middle of that bar scene to him just getting belted.
It felt very like the bride remembering the things from Kill Bill.
Like okay. Also, I noticed that Brad Pitt does a lot of coke in the movie.
No, snuff.
Is it? What's that?
Snuff. It's like it's like laced with tobacco, but it's like heaps of people have it in the coal mine, and it's just like a powdery thing, and it kind of like it gives you like it's not cocaine, but it like clears your nostrils out.
Oh,
and like really like makes you sort of like go whoa, like that,
like a smelling salt or something.
Kind of, yeah. But it's called snuff. It's not really popular anymore, but I think people use it down there to get like to give themselves a bit of an uppity. It's more like
it sounds like cocaine.
It's not cocaine. It's
okay.
not. It's a real thing. I'll look it up for you.
Okay, all right. I don't know what it is. I didn't know what
snuff.
it was.
It's like a tobacco substance.
Oh, okay. For a moment, I was like, he's just doing a lot of fucking coke randomly in front of people.
Smokeless tobacco made from ground or pulverized tobacco leaves, inhaled or snuffed into the nasal cavity, delivering a swift hit of nicotine and a lasting flavoured scent.
Interesting.
It's just a sniffing tobacco.
Yeah.
Yeah, people still do it in the mine.
Yeah.
I've tried it. It's hectic.
Yeah.
What would it even?
Does it make you sneeze?
Yeah.
No, it just makes you. It's fully just like It's like you've just like inhaled a heap of Vicks like rub or something like that. You know what I mean? It's just like you fully just like
everything's right. Yeah. Okay. Ugh. It sounds mentholy.
But it's nicotine like straight to your brain. Basically. Yeah.
Jesus.
Okay.
Okay, well that clears some things up for me. Yeah,
it's not coke.
Yeah, I was like, Jesus Christ, who held those on it? Hey. As I said, cinephile Bruhl seems charming because he has that nervousness about him at the start, and that's kind of what gives that off to me. The shot of him walking away under the streetlight, yet again, fucking amazing.
Yeah, man.
At the start. Yeah, so the second meeting blunt to the point. When the Gestapo appears and the music kicks in, like I'm already stressful in that scene.
Which scene's that?
I think that's when they're in the when she's putting up the signs.
Oh yeah.
Straight away, everything in me is like, oh, like your whole gut drops for that scene. And and then later on we get her at the table, and Lander actually comes in for the first time. What a fucking moment.
We get the sense that he knows who she is too.
Yeah, there's like this weird. Well, this is
the orders of the milk.
He's a great detective. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing I was going to say. This is a weird thing. He doesn't want to get people in trouble in it. He likes to be the smartest in the room for as long as he can.
But he's
playing.
Yeah, he's playing because he's also trying to find the best possible solution for himself. And I think at this point in the story, he knows that Germany's not going to win the war.
Yes.
And he's trying to find the best possible escape route.
Yeah.
Yes.
And maybe if he does know that it's her, she's going to do something. She's up to something. Maybe he just wants to let her try and do her thing, and then
pretty much, yeah. Because we get that she's gonna change. We already know that he knows that she's gonna change the cinema. Well, they're gonna change the cinema for her cinema. So that may bring the Fuhrer into the location.
Yeah,
he likes being the smartest in the room. Yeah. And it almost like as he does it, it's almost like a predator playing with his food before he kills it. You know what I mean? Is what I got from it. As I said, orders a glass of milk. As you said, orders a glass of milk. And then the strudel and the cream, and she goes to eat it. Wait for the cream. You're like, wow.
He's a creepy dude.
I know, yeah. And obviously,
I just think the way he talks, the diction, it's so precise.
yeah. That's a very.
It's so
I think
good.
that's a mix of like what the character's supposed to be, but
Yeah.
also Christoph Waltz. I think he genuinely
Plays it.
speaks
Yes.
like
Yeah,
that.
really,
Yeah.
really good. What movie is he in? Is he in the Coen? The shorts? What's he's like a real good shot, and he dies at the end. Is that him in it?
Oh, the old Western one?
Nah,
Yeah. Is that him?
The Ballad of Buster Scruggs?
Yeah.
Yes.
Is he in that?
no, I don't think so.
It was like Liam Neeson in that,
Let me
wasn't
see.
he?
No, there's a buddy. No, I'll look it up.
I'm fairly sure
Oh,
he
sorry,
wasn't
no,
in...
I'm thinking of Django.
Yeah, you're thinking of
Yeah,
Django.
Yeah.
I was going to say.
Yeah.
Django, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just whacked out. Too much snuff.
And God damn it, her breath at the end. I thought of that scene was amazing as well. Reminded me of Paul Raci, right? Ricci or something from Sound of Metal. After he leaves the room, he goes.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of reminded me
yeah.
of the same type
Yeah.
of thing, like
Yeah.
this release of like holding in this breath or this stress,
Yeah.
and then once gone, letting go. I like how Stiglet has the leather strap. And he's just fucking going backwards and forwards on it. He's going, and now
psychotic,
Hickox is there, and he's like, "Old chap, I hope we don't need to use this." But it's so good. Makes me want to buy a leather strap. Just sit there, just fucking be creepy in the background. So yeah, we all know about the basement scene as well, which I like the decision. That's good writing. The decision of making this character around the corner of the tavern where you can't see him. He's like a captain or something.
Yeah.
And then we
Yeah,
don't. That was smart.
It's masterful.
It almost felt like an Aragon moment. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
in the
Beginning.
corner of the
Yeah.
tavern.
Just listening to what's happening around it.
Yeah. So I thought that was like I forgot that he was around the corner. So everything in me was going, "Oh, these guys here, they're the ones that are going to get Fassbender into trouble."
When you think
Yeah.
of it, it's like an easy way to write a character in without,
yeah.
him trying to find out everything. He's already there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's also a moment where if you were writing, for example,
It's like, how can I
and
get
you
this
got
guy?
you got to a moment where you're like, okay, well, I don't know how I'm going to get these drunk people to interact in a way where they're going to want to fire off at them. You'd go, this is the perfect moment to introduce someone else. Yeah.
Fucking Wilhelm, man, so annoying.
Oh,
You just wanted to slap him.
I know.
Oh,
Was one of those characters, eh? Straight off the bat, you're like, please go away. We get the scene where she puts the finger in the gun wound,
Yeah.
and that was a shot that I thought was really cool. They tilted the camera
The
to
Dutch tilt,
fit
yeah.
everything, though. Like that was the reasoning. It didn't feel like it was just.
Well, it made you
there.
feel uncomfortable too because she was getting.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and they showed it pretty vividly as well. Yeah, and
Why have you got this? Fuck a duck.
because that's what he says in it.
I can't remember that.
Aldo Rain goes, "Well, fuck a duck," because
Oh,
she says
yeah.
she says something like,
No, it doesn't the bear Jew say
it
that?
Bear Jew?
Yeah,
Fuck
he
a
goes,
duck.
"Fuck a duck."
Yeah. How
Yeah.
quick it was, punchy.
So funny.
Because that's when she says to him that the Fuhrer's coming.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we go into the whole the Shoshana before the premiere. And I like this scene. I like her getting ready, and it's almost for me, it's like her putting on her war paint.
Yeah.
It's like her putting on her
She
lipstick
literally
and
does when,
Yeah.
when she does the two little,
little things.
she does like the blush or whatever.
Yeah.
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 So I like that
Yeah.
concept. And she also looks just so much like a readying as a femme fatale for the scene to come.
Do you know what scene we didn't need?
Which
is
one?
cutting away to them getting the film developed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
We didn't need that was
Nah, that could have been gone.
we knew they were going to do that.
Yeah, like I said, there's too much on that.
I like Melanie Laurent though. I just feel like she draws the short straw because she got the least to sort of work with out of the game.
You know, when I first watched this, I thought they were the same character, her and Diane Kruger, because to me they look so similar.
Oh, yeah. I get
I think
it.
I got a bit confused. Going, who is that? And then I realized, oh no, it's
Yeah. Well, even like Marcel, which she develops the film for, you can see that they actually do have a form of relationship, but they never go into it. So that's something else that kind of
They say my love to each other and stuff like that.
and they make out. But I don't know if that moment was because there was a moment there where I was like, are they making out just because it's like this might be the end?
I got the sense they were a couple.
They were a couple.
Yeah.
That's what I got by the end as well. And that was with the My Love. That's where I hit, was like, okay, yeah.
I sort of got it just from the way they were together.
Right. And also I like the song choice in that, putting out fire with gasoline. Fucking mint. I didn't notice it until this time, but that's like a one-shot take where she first comes in. She comes in and it pulls around to her going all the way down the stairs, meeting with... who did he meet with? Bruhl downstairs, and then moving to Aldo and what's her name?
Bridget von Hammerschmark.
Yeah. God damn it! What a name, eh? It's a mouthful. Before it cuts to her foot, and that's where it kills off the shot. That's a long shot, man.
She had to rack up her foot.
Yeah.
Even the ending when she gets strangled just finishes off on the feet.
Yeah, I know. And when he's putting the shoe on her foot, it's just so creepy.
I know.
Every time I watch one of his movies, I'm like, why is this foot shot coming in?
There's a behind the scenes where the clapper, because there's like a kind of like a bloopers reel. The clapper's really funny for the film, and she's always going like, if the scene says like 32 KB, she'll go 32 Kill Bill, and then in front of the clap the scene. But there's one where it's like toes again, toes again, toes again. She's like,
I'm trying to think.
She's just like, this is creepy.
Was there a foot shot in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood? I can't remember.
Yeah, there's heaps, dude.
Everyone.
Oh, man.
There's the one where Margaret Qualley's character has him pressed up against the windshield of the car. And then there's one where Margot Robbie's character has him up on the seat in the cinema. And they're all dirty and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I can't. I've only seen it once at the cinema.
Must not do that anymore.
What's that streaming on at the moment? Anything?
Maybe Binge or Foxtel.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
It would be present somewhere. Yeah, and this is where we get Landa being the most Landa that he could be, because he knows everything about this whole like scene, but you're right. Stretchy.
You just need to pull that plug.
He knows everything about what's going on. And the stories that they've come up with are so fucking ridiculous that he's just breaking down in the middle of the scene and having a good laugh about it and just leading him on to the rest of the film. So I thought that was really intelligent. And then we get them with the whole... we get the whole... Him being like the cast is like, that's a fresh cast. Like, the whole thing just doesn't
Then pretending to be
up.
Italian.
Yeah.
Can I go into my deep dive at this point? Because it references this part.
Diving deep with Declan. Let's go.
Yeah. So the fake Italian names they use.
Yes.
You got Gorlami.
Yes.
Enzo Gorlami, I think it is.
Yes.
Antonio Margaretti.
Yeah.
And Dominic De Coco.
De Coco, yeah.
All right. So this is my digging deep.
Yes.
This has a connection to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh, okay.
Do you know the sequence where Dalton, Leonardo DiCaprio's character, goes to work in Italy as a film star?
Yeah.
One of the movies that he stars in is directed by Antonio Margaretti.
Oh.
Right. Oh.
Little Easter egg. Yeah.
So is that make this film canon to the history?
Yeah. Because this is the real world, not the real real world.
Yeah, so Inglorious Basterds is the real world. And then
Inglorious Basterds is the real history of the Tarantino film world.
Yeah, because later on we see that DiCaprio plays a film of him playing one of the Inglorious Basterds kind of with the flamethrower in the cinema.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. Yeah.
So that's that director exists in the world, and so he was a real person that Brad Pitt's Aldo was Donnie the Bear Jew was pretending to be.
Yes.
So little Easter egg, little connection.
That's pretty cool too, because he's a director as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And he actually directed the movie within the movie that Daniel Bruhl stars in.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
That was all directed by. Yeah, it was all he made the thing.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah.
No, the Bruhl moment in this movie was directed by Eli Roth.
That's what I just said.
Oh, was it? Yeah. Oh, okay. Sorry.
The Bear Jew.
Yeah. Anyway. Oh my lord.
I think I just saw another 2 grey hairs.
I know, far out. I like, this is one moment I like the most in the movie, I think, and it's so subtle. It's when the Bedu goes down the aisles of the cinema and he goes, he goes, "Mi scusi," all the way down the
But he's got this massive smile on his face the whole time too. Because he's like, they're just like, oh my God.
This is just actually happening right now. And everyone around them is so disturbed. Anyway, I thought that was probably I was actually laughing pretty hard for that scene.
I was also, sorry to cut you off.
Yeah.
But I was also thinking when Bridget was explaining what the whole plan was with Fassbender and Hickox and all that, was for them to pose as Italian cameramen and an escort like in the film industry.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that have all come undone anyway when that very high-ranking major, high chance he would have been at that movie premiere, right?
Pretty much.
He was pretty high up,
Yeah.
from what I understand. Wouldn't that have come undone when he just turned and they
up,
weren't
and they weren't the
SS
people.
officers?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
right.
guess. It didn't seem like they were going in there with any, like, they cared that if they got caught or something, but they were like,
Well,
we're
because
just having a crack.
then they would have gone in there
That's
and
what
he
it
would have been
kinda
like, hang on, what you guys SS officers? And like, oh no, we're Italian. Just seems like it would have come undone then anyway. It seems like it was doomed. That whole scene was doomed once there was Nazi officers down there, basically.
Pretty much,
Yeah.
yeah. But I guess, I don't know, maybe he just pushed that to the side for it. I don't know. Like Tarantino. Like,
Oh no,
he was like,
it obviously ended badly anyway. But I'm saying even if they had survived, I don't think the plan would have.
no, it wouldn't have really turned out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
just an interesting thing. I was just thinking
Waltz
about that.
was playing with it to get out.
Yeah, pretty much.
So
that was
that's
the
why
only
he
reason
didn't-
why
yeah.
they stayed into the cinema.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I
That's the
get that. But
first
I'm just
thing-
saying, like, but if Fassbender had survived, it wouldn't have worked
No.
because they would have known that he wasn't an Italian.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Just something I noticed.
Yeah, but he wasn't supposed to be an Italian.
Yeah, no, that's what she said when she's in the animal hospital.
Yeah.
Brad Pitt asks her what the plan was, and she says they were going to pose as my escorts, and he's an Italian, and they're Italian cameramen.
You're right.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It would have come undone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100% would have got it done. Yeah. So last few things that I got here pretty quick.
I was going to say, we haven't really mentioned Hitler much.
Because he's just not in it much.
No, but it's pretty good. There's another good movie.
You like how he acts in
Oh,
it.
performance, yeah, just over the top. There's a better one. I think it's
Downfall?
called Downfall. Have you seen that?
Yeah,
That's the one. Isn't that the one? The
Incredible.
famous YouTube.
Yeah,
scene?
the
Oh,
YouTube
yeah,
scene.
yeah. But yeah, that performance is apparently spot on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, what, that performance of
Yeah, because his
Hitler
hands
is super
will
similar.
always just shake.
Yeah. Well, that's because I remember the glasses scene where he takes the glasses off and his hands shaking like crazy. I've watched that probably about 50 different interpretations of that scene on YouTube with different
subtitles.
dialogue and subtitles. Yeah.
But I liked at the end here when he's watching all the shots, which is pretty much exactly the same shot. He's just
He's going
It's
nuts
frothing,
about it.
and he says to the guy, "This is the best film. This is your best film." The guy starts crying.
Yeah. He goes, thank you.
Very biased film.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So we get a Wilhelm Scream as well, which I just wanted to throw in there.
Yeah.
Wanted to make sure we acknowledge the Wilhelm Scream off the tower. This is what I thought about the smoke and the air effects inside of the burning cinema is what makes this look real as shit. They had to have put this thing on fire for real because
It's pretty intense.
it looked perfectly like a building that was going up into flames.
Yeah.
These days, doing stuff like that doesn't look nowhere near what it actually would look like. I felt like I was in the cinema. Like, there's a shot where it's shot from the screen towards the back where there's the doorways while they're all running towards the doorways. And the flames and the air is moving through. And for a moment, I'm like, I can feel the heat. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, it feels like it's so fucking hot in that room already. Straight off the bat.
Yeah.
Anyway, I thought I'd just acknowledge how good I thought the effects were.
It goes to show, man, Tarantino can do action, he can do drama, he can do romance.
Comedy.
Man,
He's good at comedy because he doesn't... Sometimes he's not on the nose with it. Sometimes he does things like... Well, maybe it is on the nose, but it's
That's
nice.
it
It's like
works.
the pipe.
He can do them within the context of like what he does.
Yeah.
Yes.
I wouldn't want to see
He's not gonna do
as
like
much
a
as it'd be.
Pride and
I would
Prejudice.
I would like to see it, but I wouldn't want it to exist within the canon. But it'd be like him to do that Star Trek movie he wanted to do, or
Yeah, that would be
Yeah.
like
cool.
a Marvel movie. Would be super interesting to see Tarantino take something like that on.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't want it to exist like in the realm of the other because
No,
it would just
it'd
be
be
so separate.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It'd be interesting. It'd be intriguing.
Put it into the realm of things that he has done that aren't a part of his repertoire.
Yeah.
Like he's done episodes of NCIS.
CSI.
Sorry. That's
Yeah.
it. And
Were
also...
they any different or?
The one that he did at CSI was around
remember.
when he did Kill Bill Volume 2, and it was about one of the CSI agents was buried alive underground.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I remember seeing it. It was a big build up to it being like directed by Tarantino.
Was it-
He likes TV like that. He
Yeah.
likes he loves How I Met Your Mother. That's like just he loves episodic television that is simple and easy to digest.
Imagine that guy's room of videos.
Yeah.
It'd be
He
so
watches. I think he
fucking
just watches
much.
everything.
Just everything. That's crazy, man.
I could see him in an alone room just laughing to himself.
Yeah.
It's
That with the
Well, he's
the
weird.
Tarantino laugh.
He sits at the back of the cinema and
Laughs
laughs
at
at
his own
movies.
movies.
bro.
So weird. Yeah.
He's
He's a character, that's for sure.
There's I remember watching the making of Clerks 2 on the DVD back in the day, and some of the first people that Kevin Smith shows it to are Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez,
Yeah.
and you see the difference in them, those two there, because Robert is very like mechanical, and he's like, oh look, if you want to take some time out of it, I'd look at the first 20 minutes as, you know, there's enough there that you could cut stuff out and we'd still understand what you're trying to tell us and everything. And Tarantino's like, he's like, what I saw, man, was like walked up and I was like, I haven't seen these guys in years. These are my friends. I haven't seen my friends in years. He's like,
Hypo.
Well, I think he's just so passionate about film that a lot of the time he just like seeing it. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what it is. He's just like, it's film. I like it. That's it.
I wonder if they'll ever do a movie on Tarantino.
I bet they will. I give it like, he's got to die first, but I could see it's true.
Yeah.
I think
I
once he
reckon it'd be pretty
passes
interesting.
away,
Yeah.
there could be like a fucking massively good movie. Yeah. Anyway.
yeah.
But moving on. Sackett or brisket? Dan's cinematography corner.
Oh, look, we already know what this one is.
You want to go for it? Go for it.
This is a brisket.
I'm not even gonna.
Look, pretty much
Like-
going forward from Pulp Fiction, it's basically a brisket every film.
Even Jackie
Yeah.
Brown? I thought Jackie Brown wasn't.
No, it wasn't. Not Pop, sorry. Kill Bill, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kill Bill going forward, pretty much.
Do you think it's just
Every,
gonna always be?
they're all solid. I think to me, I reckon Hateful Eight is probably my strongest one. There's a lot of good shots in that, man.
Really?
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see though, because I feel like the opening of that movie out in the snow and everything is epic. Like I remember, and because I remember watching it in 70mm. But then it'll be interesting to see how you feel about it now, considering the fact that that whole movie takes place in one room.
Yeah,
And
if
will
you-
that get tiresome eventually? I don't like, you know.
If you look at
And it's long. There's
Yeah.
a lot of shots in that
Long
room.
movie.
when you look at
I haven't watched it since it came out, so I'm intrigued to.
yeah, I've seen it twice. If you look at Madsen, he's in the back of the room.
Mm-hmm.
The way that scene is shot is pretty much, well, the way it's lit is very similar to the opening scene of this movie,
Right.
where there's a light directly on the table and it's bouncing.
Yeah.
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 But
I'm not
that-
denying that it looked amazing, because obviously they went all out with the 70mm cameras and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I
And the
think.
soundtrack in that, oh, so good.
Yeah, but see, the soundtrack in nearly all of his movies are great. The last three, at least, have had just amazing soundtracks.
Yeah. But yeah, it will be interesting. But yeah, this is definitely brisket.
Yeah,
Like Chris said before, there's a lot of scenes in here you can just pause them, print them out, and stick them on
pretty
your wall.
much. Yeah.
Yeah, so good.
Well, thank you, Dan.
My pleasure.
Declan, it's
Yeah.
time for the factoids. So, go down to the basement, put on your uniform, and have a conversation with a British spy about some factoids.
Have fun filtering through 1,000 of them.
Yeah, there's a lot,
Jesus
man.
Christ. You got to pick these out, Declan. You got to pick them out beforehand.
It's no fun in that.
It is.
Well, you can go back to doing the facts.
If I got to do it, I will. But come on, let's do it. Factoids.
So Quentin Tarantino was considering abandoning the film because he couldn't find the perfect person to play Colonel Hans Landa, and he thought the character was unplayable. But then Christoph Waltz auditioned, and both he and the producer agreed he was perfect.
Wow. What a way to get into it, though.
All hung on him, I suppose, too, because the role's multilingual.
Yeah.
He wanted DiCaprio originally, but that wouldn't have worked.
That would not have worked.
The fact that this is pretty much a foreign film is what makes it so strong, really.
Yeah, what's his name? Leo did really well as Candy in Django, but I can't see.
He did really well in that.
I couldn't see him as Landa. Not at all.
This one is interesting about Brad Pitt because he was maybe the only person that was fighting against this hulking figure before everything came out.
Oh, really?
The only movie Brad Pitt made as a leading actor for the Weinstein Company or its previous iteration, Miramax. It had everything to do with wanting to work with Tarantino and nothing to do with Weinstein.
Wow.
His animosity for Weinstein stems from an incident in the 90s where Pitt physically threatened the producer upon learning of Weinstein's unwanted sexual harassment of his then girlfriend, Gwyneth Paltrow.
So good.
Wow.
So
how good's for Brad Pitt doing that?
Yeah. But that's how powerful Weinstein was. That didn't even come out in gossip magazines or anything.
Wow. I wonder who else stood up against that clown.
I guess there's a lot of people that probably did, but they would probably constantly threaten careers.
Yeah.
And he would destroy careers as well.
I wonder if Clooney had running with him.
Clooney looks like a guy that would. But we don't know.
Kind of guy that would what?
That guy that would go up against him.
Yeah, Clooney stands up to people, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think if he's worked on any Weinstein.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. But surely they would have butt heads or something.
You said it. Three Kings. He had a mad...
He took on David O. Russell,
Yeah.
He had him on the ground.
So good.
Might say.
Hectic.
First Tarantino film to win an Oscar for acting for Christoph Waltz, Best Supporting.
Wow.
He deserved it.
Yeah.
He won another one for Django Unchained as well.
Yeah, wow. Incredible, man.
Do you know, I was actually thinking this as I was watching it. Only 30% of the film is in English.
Yeah, there's not much.
Yeah, well, there's not much dialogue, is there?
French or German are they're the main. That's because I was thinking, I was watching, I was like, really barely any of this movie is in English.
I just remembered. I like how he goes, may I? What is it at the beginning? He goes, may I switch to English?
Yeah.
Because you guys have had enough of your filthy tongue or something. It's just so brutal.
Yeah,
but elegant.
Yeah, at the same time. Yet again, showing again that he technically he knew exactly what he was there for.
Yeah.
Enough to change languages to make sure they don't understand.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Last two ones, because we've said a lot of facts throughout it. I'll give two on Eli Roth's character.
Okay.
One of the names inscribed on his bat is Anne Frank.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
The other one is he was questioned how he got into the mindset of playing the psychotic Bear Jew character.
Yeah.
And he said that he was trying to get deep down and do it. And then when he was listening to his iPod, his wife had snuck some Hannah Montana songs on there. And he said weirdly somehow that got him exactly in the mindset that he needed to be.
He's angry.
Good old Hannah Montana.
I could see that.
10 years he worked on the script for this movie. He started writing it before he wrote Kill Bill.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
So that's why it's such a... I feel like that's... And the final line where he goes, this might be my best work yet, is just totally Tarantino speaking to the audience, right? Brad Pitt looking in the camera.
Yeah.
Who better to say that for him than Brad Pitt?
Yeah, exactly.
Do we know what he's working on the next one? Is there any leaks or anything?
I don't think there's any information on it.
You haven't heard anything?
We know that it's the 10th, obviously, in the final.
Surely, come on, he's not going to do 10.
Do you know what? The more I've thought about it, and I'm like, as much as I'd like to see him keep making movies, does the fact that it's going to be his final one, does that mean that he's going to pour more into it? He also has come out and said that he would do miniseries. He's
going to keep working. He's just
like,
not going
to... what's his name? The director... He did Sex, Lies and Videotape, and he did the Ocean's 11. Soderbergh.
Oh, yeah.
He's retired from filmmaking, but he still makes miniseries for HBO and things like that. So I think Tarantino wants to... I heard him say that he doesn't want to do digital film.
Soderbergh made a movie not long ago, didn't he, with just the iPhone or something?
Maybe.
Yeah.
He's doing more
he
like
does a lot
odd
of the
stuff.
stuff like that, yeah.
He's cool sort of.
Yeah, because he's like, I'm just using an iPhone.
The last two
He
movies.
watches 2001: A Space Odyssey like 5 times a year. That guy.
That's too much.
That's hectic.
Yeah, all I remember is that I vividly remember he did a movie about like some girl in an asylum where it's just all on an iPhone. Is it Unsane? Yeah, Unsane. So, yeah, it looks like it's shot on an iPhone.
Him saying he's going to retire, like, as if there's not room, like, 5 years down the line to him to be like, I'm back. I'm back.
Yeah, of course, yeah. And it's just another money grab.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I know that he really enjoys doing stage plays, and that's something that he's really, really wanted to do. Like, for example, Hateful Eight, when it was supposedly leaked by Kurt Russell.
Really?
Yeah, it was his script was the one that was leaked to the public.
Why would he do that?
Maybe it just got stolen off him or something.
things like that, leaving it in the wrong location or whatever. Supposedly that was leaked, and he got really down about it, Tarantino, and he decided that he was going to turn it into a stage play. And then as further progressed, he was like, you know what? I'm going to do the movie. He goes, fuck what anyone else says. If they already know what the story is or whatever, I'm doing the movie anyway. But I could see
that ruined it for you because you read the script.
No, it didn't completely ruin it. What I had read with the script, I read Django before.
Oh, was it? I thought you
the
said
movie as
Hateful
well.
Eight. Okay.
Hateful Eight was, I found, not as good because the script felt more concise, and Hateful Eight felt long. You know what I mean? So the script felt like, I think it was like 120 pages or something, which is short for his movies. Django Unchained was 180 or 190 page script.
Wow.
And they cut 40 pages from the movie, which was Jonah Hill played a character where, what's her name? The love interest?
Yeah, they cut that out.
Yeah. She goes off to someone else before she's sold to Candy.
Right.
And actually lives with this old man whose son is like, has like a mental disability. And the son's played by Jonah Hill.
Yeah.
And she actually starts falling in love with the son and has a pretty happy life until the old man has debts with Candy, if I remember.
Yep.
And he gets killed by Candy and Candy takes her.
Right.
So if I liked that part of the script for that. But when it came for Hateful Eight, it felt like Reservoir Dogs in a cabin. And when you watch the movie, you get that, but it's so stretched out because it's so long that it wasn't as fun for me than the script. So that was kind of why.
It's the next one, isn't it?
Django's
Django's
next one.
Then Hateful Eight. So
I pretty much
we're
know
not
all
far
those
from it.
movies. Well, not Django. This one and Django I know pretty much off by heart.
Yeah,
Like scene for
most of
scene.
it.
Yeah.
This movie, yeah. Anyway, let's move on to our final thoughts. Declan, I'll start with you.
Yeah. No, I really, really like this one. I can't. Yeah, it's going to be hard for me to do my rankings because this one and Kill Bill Volume 2 sit pretty equally to me. But it's really, really good. I've sort of said little criticism here and there, but I would rather close it off by just saying I thoroughly enjoyed watching it again, and I'll watch it again in the future without a worry.
Yeah. Well, I remember last week you were like, I'm really interested to now get into Inglorious Basterds because you were starting to get that feeling of fatigue from Tarantino and the fact that it's the monologues and things like that.
If I'm being honest, I still do feel that, and I still don't love Tarantino as much as I did when I was younger. There's something iffy about him to me now. I can't quite put my finger on it.
Are we destroying our own filmmakers?
No,
by doing the reviews?
I was already there with him. I think I know that, like, because the deep dive or the dig and deep that I did last week about the car crash of Uma, there's something there. That's actually another thing I meant to bring up.
Yeah.
It's these things that he does, and I get that this is like these uber artists, and maybe I just don't understand the work that they put in and stuff like that. But you know the strangling scene?
Oh, yeah.
Do you know?
Again?
Do you know
it, yeah.
that he was doing that? That was Tarantino?
Oh, yeah, I knew that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was his hands, yeah.
I don't know.
It's like Mel Gibson does the same thing. Like in Passion of the Christ, that was his hand that hammered the nails
The nails in.
I don't know.
Yeah, I get it.
Directors do that.
It's weird because on one front it's like he doesn't want anyone else to do it.
No, but he says because because he goes, "Oh, it just annoys me whenever I watch people getting strangled in movies. It doesn't look like they're getting strangled." And he's like, "So I'm going to do it because I know it'll be the safest way." Because he said this on the Graham Norton show, I remember it. And he's like, "Oh, so I'm really going to strangle you just for like a little bit while we get this shot." And I'm like, "But here's the thing, man. Like, and this is where it's just like he's on another plane.
He's a creep.
Yeah.
But like, is anyone going to walk away from that movie and be like, didn't look like she was really getting strangled?"
I know, yeah. Like, you get the concept of it. That's it.
She looked like she was
She's getting strangled, yeah.
I know
sure.
that, but like, I'm
well,
not...
look at Uma Thurman in that scene in Kill Bill Volume 1.
Yeah.
Holy shit, her eyes are going red.
Yeah, I deep down, I don't know if he's weird of me saying this, but I feel like he loved doing that.
Probably.
I don't want to... That's conjecture.
Yeah. I know. But you know what I mean? I reckon he's just a creepy dude, man. And I reckon if he does go, if he passes before our time, I reckon there's going to be heaps of shit going to come out.
I would not be surprised.
Yeah.
I don't want to say either way. There's just something... There's something in that stuff...
I know what you're saying, yeah.
But... It's again, this movie's really good. I don't want to...
Let's move on. Yeah.
Dan Man, your final thoughts.
Yeah, and pretty much about that.
You're looking blaming us.
I was like, well, I didn't know. I thought it was someone's fingers going.
Oh no, that was a drum roll.
I know, yeah. Dan.
That was the ghost from. Have you seen, not heard what it was called?
Things heard, not heard and seen.
Stupid
Things
name.
heard and seen.
Yeah. This is good. It's not as good as Kill Bill 2 for me.
Right.
Again, because of the cinema scenes, but it's still a bloody good movie, and this is an 8 out of 10 for me. It's more of a mega memorable scenes that sit with me over time. Like I said, if he cut down on some of that cinema stuff, then it probably would have been a 9, up there with Kill Bill 2.
That's fair enough. Yeah.
That's obviously nitpicking. But yeah, man, I still think he's at this point he's still on his A game.
Yeah, he's definitely in his peak.
Yep.
Yeah. Thanks, Dan.
Yeah, but from here, like going forward, I still think the others are around this score.
Really?
Yep.
Fair enough. Yeah, that I could see that sitting similarly. Yeah, it's weird for me. I think Inglorious Basterds is actually. Look, this is the thing. There's movies I know I like more than others. I like Kill Bill 1 and 2 as a package more than I like Inglorious Basterds. But I know which movie is better. Inglorious Basterds is a better film to me. I think it's just all round. It's well paced. It's shot nicer. It keeps you intrigued. It's a little bit more mature. So I think as a film, it is actually a better movie. But I don't like it as much as the other two. Because I think, as I've said it before, Kill Bill sits nicely in the realm of him being cheeky and being, journeying into being mature as a director. And I think that's my favorite Tarantino. So I'm going to give this an 8.5, like Kill Bill Volume 2. But if I was to say what do I think is the number one number one Tarantino movie ever created so far, I would sit Inglorious first. But I think my enjoyment process is Kill Bill. So that's it. An 8.5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Odd, but okay.
Yeah, it's weird because it's funny.
I see what you're going for.
It's funny because I was driving home last night and I was thinking about it. I was driving home from my partner's and I was like, look, I know that Pulp Fiction is rated the highest on a lot of sites. Pulp Fiction is the thing that changed cinema history in a way. And that's what's such a big drive towards the next portion of cinema. Then I was thinking, but out of all the movies he's done, I think the movie that stands out the most to me as being the best film of his is Inglorious Basterds. I just don't like it as much as I enjoy watching Kill Bill. And that's kind of like, it's like knowing the movie that's better, but knowing that you don't enjoy it as much.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much it.
Yeah. Movies that you like that, like technically maybe not as good and stuff like that, but you just like them more. That's that's the thing.
Yeah, exactly. So that's pretty much it. Yeah. Right. So that's it. Dan, we'll go through our scores next on the last one. Hollywood. All right. I think that covers our Inglorious Basterds review. You've been listening to Neon Radio Podcast. I'm Reece.
I'm Dan.
This might be our finest podcast yet.
And yeah, have a good week. Respect.